Good evening, and welcome to the February 8th meeting for the Concord Historical Commission. I'm calling the meeting to order. My name is Alan Bogosian, and I am the chair of the Concord Historical Commission. We will do a roll call for the members that are present. Melissa?
Melissa Salfield present.
Nancy Nelson, present.
And Alan Bogosian present. We have a quorum.
Yes.
Okay. So we have a quorum, and we'll get to the minutes at the end of the meeting. But the first order of business, if you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand, use the raise your hand command, and we will respond to you. So the first order of business is the residence at the Row comprehensive permit application. But we're not going to have a say in this, right?
Right, this goes before the ZBA. It's a 40B development. But I just kind of quickly looked into the history of the site, and the form that I found, which I shared with you all and is up on the website. There's the Powder Mill Woods, I think, and it mentioned that there are, ruins and former structures on the site, and it's the old American Powder Mill factory area. So it seems as if most of those buildings are gone, but I'm not familiar with the site myself. I haven't been out there. The site visit isn't scheduled quite yet. It will be sometime in March. But initially I thought that if there were structures over 50 years old, that the demo review would apply. But it turns out, because it's a 40B project, it's actually the ZBA who evaluates the demolition. But the Historical Commission can advise them, or at least provide them information on what sorts of questions they should be asking about the structures that are existing on the site. So that's one thing. And then also, if, since clearly there will be state and federal, well, certainly state funding and permitting involved, they'll be required to submit a project notification form to Mass Historical Commission, who will do its own evaluation of the history of the site. So that's kind of the key piece that that you as the Historical Commission should be communicating to the ZBA.
So communicated. So I have a question. Would we be allowed to go? I mean, I know where this is, generally speaking, but and I printed off, the map guide, the guide that the Trails Committee has provided is very interesting. I've never gone. Is that something we could organize to do as a commission, or would people be interested in doing that? I would.
I would like to go. I've never been up
Like to see it, yeah.
there.
I very much would. I mean, we know at the very least anything they do has to be photographed, documented, the research done, and I presume the Mass Historical would require the same thing.
I'm guessing they would.
So is this something we could organize as a commission, and that would have to be publicly announced?
Yeah.
I don't know who the contact is there. If you want a representative from the Row Club or the new owner, but I know that it is coming before the ZBA, I think on February 29th, and at that point they'll be scheduling the official site visit, and we're welcome, or you all, and I'm welcome to join them.
Good enough.
Okay, that would be great. So they will schedule that on February 29th?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I don't know. Is it behind Swanson's
Rick?
GMC, or is it behind the electrical supply house?
I think if you go up Forest Ridge Road or whatever, the Row Club has been developing all that wonderful land that they have. And this is another aspect of it. There's those two condominium housing projects up there, and then there's condos and Forest Ridge, and it's a lot. I think you just go up Forest Ridge Road.
Ian, are we allowed to ask the questions? Does this affect our 10% threshold for the town, or are we?
Definitely.
Yes.
And gosh, I think
Does
that-
it also affect the MBTA guidelines for new
Well,
buildings?
that was the interesting part of some of the objections from the town of Concord. I see that Stefan Bader is here and he's from the Housing Authority, but I mean, one of the things, it doesn't address any of the things that the town wants, which is to be, to be close to transportation. It couldn't be farther away from transportation.
Yeah.
All the requirements that we've asked about the MBTA
It
This-
just doesn't work
Oh.
for that
at all.
at all. So, and it's really, the transportation thing looks almost impossible.
I guess you could say, well, they're sort of near the Stop and Shop, so they could walk down to the Stop and Shop, but it is a lot of units. I mean, I don't know, we can only comment, I presume, on the historical.
Right.
Mhm. Right. I was just doing as general
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Because I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not either, but I could see it's far away.
Is that, and it also contributes hugely to the traffic that's already a terrible problem on 62.
you
It's like-
mean the fact that I can't get out of my driveway?
Oh, well, you don't matter, Alan, you don't count.
It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
it's
Among other
over,
things.
it's over 400 cars.
It's it's horrible. I live at the other end at Concord Green, and depending on the time of morning, you do wait.
Mhm.
And then we've got our other project, on Baker Avenue.
Right.
At any rate, so on the February 29th, so I understand that the ZBA will determine a date that there will be a site visit, and we are welcome to join them.
It's public, but there are certain constraints sometimes to where the public can be.
So, and we have to give our okay on this, or
I think they would like advice in the form of a letter, certainly about the MHC project notification form, and if there's any particular questions you want to ask about the structures that are there, like especially their age, right? Whether they're over 50 years old or not.
right. Nancy?
So I apologize for being late. I had an emergency phone call just before the meeting. I don't know what I missed. When I was looking through the materials, I saw the little structures that they were going to be moving, or did you already talk about that? Because I actually drove up there today because I hadn't been up there for so long. I didn't get out and walk around because I can see that, there's that huge building and the big bubbles. So it's behind there in the woods somewhere. So, and there are like 6 or 7 of them. It's on the plan, it says 1-story wooden structures, and one was a nurse's wood cabin. They're all little wooden cabins. But then from Ann Forbes's note, it sounds like there was just like piles of rubble. That's what I understood. Does anybody know what they were?
No, we're talking
it's
about
part of-
going up there.
But it's all part of that powder mill.
I read about that. So interesting.
So that's what we were just talking about. We would like to go on a site visit. So
So
we
yeah,
know what
okay.
we're talking about.
I'm in agreement with that. I'd like to see it.
Mhm.
Should we make a motion on this? To
We can
support,
just- I'm sorry.
to support the project, Ann, or?
Well,
I think to write a letter, making recommendations to the ZBA on the existing structures,
Okay.
particularly if they're 50 years or older, and also just to submit that project notification form to MHC so that a study is done.
So we're being asked for support the project?
no.
Good, okay, that's what I heard, so I'm just clarifying, I don't need any more. That's all.
Can we first request that we get
Some
photos
info-
of those structures?
Yeah, we need
We
to.
know what
go
we're
up
talking
there.
about?
Yeah, well, I mean, my feeling is in any demo, we would require full historical research, documentation, images, plans, whatever they have, which I I would also presume Mass Historical is going to request. But at the minimum, that's what I think we need to request.
Yeah.
It's any project. But we also would like to go on a site visit.
Any project where the structure is over 50 years old, right?
Yes, yes.
And are you saying that we,
Definitely
go
maybe
on
more
this-
recent. Sorry?
are you saying that we go on the site visit when they're proposing it at the end of the month, or have our own site visit?
Well, you just missed it. So Anne said that on February 29th, they're gonna have the ZBA will have a meeting and they will determine a site visit time at that point, and we will just participate with them.
Okay.
Is this, is there a time frame that we're trying to meet?
They would like comments before the 29th.
Well, we don't know. We haven't even seen the project area. So I frankly don't want to comment on what I don't know anything about. Right?
You just say generally, if there are structures over
I-
50
I-
years old.
And what you're saying, we need to write a letter to the ZBA that says, basically, if there are structures, we need more information and documentation about any of the structures that are 50 years or older. And that, we would request of them before they allow the project to proceed, documentation of that. Is that right? I mean, I think that's what we're looking for.
Well, I wonder what MHC will say, actually, and what their time frame for responding will be. That,
But that's one
are
thing
they-
that I think I'm understanding from Anne, we need to say something to the ZBA, which is meeting in a couple weeks.
That's what I think too. That, and we're not gonna have the jurisdiction over the Mass Historical Society, are we?
no.
No,
no.
No.
So,
I don't think we have much jurisdiction at all. All we're doing is
Right.
request to be advising, and we're
Right.
advising the ZBA to request documentation. And this,
Photographs, history, like we ask any other
any other,
Mhm.
proposing demolition. That's okay with me, but beyond that, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know, and we might find we want to say something else at whatever site visit is coming.
so we would have to put something together before the meeting on the 29th.
yes.
Okay, so is there any way we could do our own visit before that?
I would like to do it when somebody's there that knows about it.
Well,
So I prefer, I don't object to everybody going on their own, but I'm gonna be happy to have somebody who knows about it say a little bit more about it than I know.
well, I doesn't, I think if I understand this, our letter to the ZBA simply will state that we recommend that they request of the developer full documentation of the structures and the site and the remnants that are there, photographs, historical research. That wouldn't, whether we visit it before or after. we're
No,
still
that's,
recommending that.
I've said I'm in favor of that.
Yeah.
And it's a simple letter to write.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we don't have authority to say yes or no to this project or the
Oh,
demolition of the property.
No, absolutely.
And they just want our
Remind
blessing.
them of that,
basically.
sorry, and just remind them of that requirement to submit the project notification form to MHC.
Which is,
There you go.
Because the ZBA may not be aware of that.
okay.
So should we draft something up or?
Yes, do you want to take a vote to do that, or?
Yep, I move that we we write a letter to the planning department, right? Who gets it? And,
The zoning board of appeal.
Board of Appeals.
oh, just directly to ZBA, okay. The historical commission recommends that, the developer document the existing buildings that are over 50 years old and any remnants of the same. I bet there's a bunch of rubble around that would also tell you about the original site visit, including historical research as well as photographs of the interior and exterior of the buildings.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nancy? Melissa?
Aye.
And myself, aye.
Is Ryan with us?
Ryan?
I don't see him, not on my screen.
Just his name.
Oh, really? I'm not seeing that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I muted myself.
No, I can't get the.
okay. All right,
All my Zoom screens are just a little bit
so
different.
we're good with that then.
Yes.
Okay, second thing, cell tower, 936 Elm Street cell tower proposal. And you have the information on that?
Yes, do you want me to bring it up on the screen?
Sure.
Okay, it'll take me a couple of minutes.
It's funny because I'm actually working on a cell tower in Waltham
Oh,
on top of a building, right?
Oh.
Well, this cell tower, I drive by it several times a day because I go out that way towards Acton a lot. They're just adding a couple new,
I think branches we'll call them.
Towers and branches.
yeah, so it's already there.
Yeah,
So,
I will say they were pretty, they offered a lot of images, quite a lot of documentation about something that's, I don't think is controversial.
so here's the tower and the site.
Yep.
What they showed were several really good photos of the tower itself, and what I was not clear about. I don't think there's going to be any
there.
additional height. It's just going to come off.
Yeah,
came
so
off the edges. So that's fine.
can you stay with that? So Alan, as you understand this, there are two, as you say, branches, how they're just going to come off like midway or 2/3 up?
yeah, they're just gonna be putting different,
It's these-
more pieces. It's a piece like a 4-foot structure by 2 feet. Rectangle on the side of it.
It looks pretty minimal from that photo.
It's
Very
very
side.
minimal. It just looks like a big cardboard box, basically.
Does this mean we'll get better coverage?
Yes.
Noticeable?
It's a shoe in then.
And
Yes.
I'm all in favor.
Let's just vote right now.
Yeah, they're moving away from the satellite, the round satellite parts of it,
Oh, interesting.
and going towards these brown structures. That's basically what it is.
Well,
But
at
this
least
is the
it doesn't
state now.
have palm fronds, so we can be happy about that.
This is the state, not the town though, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Seemed to be on MCI property.
Well, this is just a courtesy 106. I understand
Right.
that, right? I
Right,
don't,
so I think I did mention in the email that the Cumming house is on the next lot over. But
Right.
there is already a warehouse between the cell tower facility and the Cumming house, so I don't see that there would really be any sort of difference. It wouldn't really affect
No.
that
No.
structure.
I mean, first of all, the tower's been there for years.
Mm.
It's not new.
Right. And we don't know if there's going to be any new structures when the prison closes, or enhancements to existing structures, or so we don't know.
No, but there are lots of programs in place and coming up about, evaluating that. And
Well,
it will,
even with the cross point, with the buildings that cross point is building where the old paparazzi is.
No
That's a
harm.
project.
Right.
yeah. So do you want a motion or, I mean, I don't see any.
Oh, Are we to provide support for this? Is that Ann, and are they looking for us to
Or maybe just let them know whether or not you see any issues with the impact to historic structures.
yeah, so maybe a motion then. We don't foresee any problems or difficulties with the enhancements of the existing tower.
Sure. Can you make the motion? Sounded good.
So moved.
All in
I don't think the chair
favor?
has to do that.
I,
And I myself.
hi, Ryan.
Ryan Hanley
There
here,
he is.
also in favor.
Yeah. I
Sorry,
saw-
I'm
I saw
driving
you.
home from work and I couldn't find the button on my phone while I'm on 128 here. So,
Oh, okay.
You're not driving, are you?
Yes, he is.
yeah, no.
Well, if you're on 128, you're probably sitting in traffic. And not moving.
No, that's why I leave at this time, so I'm not sitting in traffic, but I will hop off here at this time, or I'll remute here.
Be careful.
So the next update is the Wright Tavern preservation restriction. And I know there's been a little bit of updating to Wright Tavern.
Phew.
Yeah, so I have a lot of questions about how we are to respond to the pretty extensive comments from the Mass Historical.
They just want our comments from 1 to 50 or whatever.
It's I don't know, since I've been on the Historical Commission, we've never had anything like this before. I'm grateful that they took such care.
It's amazing, actually. It is really amazing. A lot of it, I think, is more important for the lawyers than for us, but there were
Yes,
a couple of things, that I saw. They want to take out the nomination form and whatnot. It was appendix, whatever it was, because it didn't meet the current standards of documentation for a historic landmark or whatever else it is. Sorry, I'm tired. And I think it would be a shame to lose that document because it was hard to unearth. And it wasn't in its complete form. It wasn't readily available. And I had to go to the archives for it, the federal archives, to get it. So I would feel okay. Melissa, you might know something about this. If the same issue comes up when they don't want the color photos from Lynn Spencer, and the color photos from Lynn Spencer, I think, are incredibly valuable over black and white photographs and seeing what the tavern looked like. But they suggested as an alternative that they be parked somewhere else and readily accessible to people. And in one place, I thought they were talking about your offices there, but I would rather they be in the archives or something. I don't know exactly what's appropriate, but I hate to see all that information.
not be included.
I mean, we're gonna have to use that restriction when we go look at the tavern to see if it's being honored. So I don't know. I have a copy. I won't get rid of my copy, but the sheets really are full-size construction document size for Lynn Spencer's photos. So that's one thing, or two things that I hope they're not too adamant about.
And do you know why they would have requested that?
It doesn't meet current forms, but go ahead. Current
that was-
standards.
Right, it doesn't meet current standards, but I suppose maybe you could do both. Have the preservation restriction be filed with photos at the current standards, but also have the color photos
As an addendum?
at the library, or right? Are you talking about special collections in the library?
I don't know where it would go, but
Well,
I
that's
just don't want it to get lost again because there's a record of when the Park Service was inspecting the place, and somebody should have been inspecting the place from way back then till now. and that fell away. And in the interim, a lot of bad things happened to that structure. So,
I don't, well, I have a question, actually, is it special collections?
No, I was just thinking the same thing. It wouldn't be. It would be the town archives.
Town
because it's
archives
the
with
Yeah.
Nate.
Historical
Nate
Commission
Smith.
that
collection
sounds better.
in the town archives.
Yes.
That
Um,
sounds better.
It just, I agree with Nancy that all the documentation that we have, any document, I wouldn't understand why Mass Historical wouldn't want all documentation to be a part of the record. And so are we allowed to push back? I mean, they seem
They
kind of
gave,
like,
they gave a couple of options and maybe you could have a third, I mean, it's up to you. If you want a third option and require both, that something actually be filed at the Registry of Deeds, so you're sure that it's going to be there forever. But then also have the color documentation with the town archives, that we would hope that would also be there forever. But certainly the Registry of Deeds will.
I don't know what their objection is to color photographs. I think they're infinitely more useful, but infinitely more useful.
so,
But
so then my question are we allowed to go back to Michael Steinitz, I guess, who wrote the letter and and ask why?
just tell them we'd prefer that, you know, that the documentation stay there because there's no other current up to par description of Wright Tavern for the National Register or as a historic landmark. So, I mean, that's what we've got about Wright Tavern. And then the photographs, just a question. Is it good enough for us to put it in the archives? Which I guess I would feel okay with that.
Well, I mean, I
I'd
know,
like the other thing, I really would like the other thing to stay there.
the National Landmark
Yeah,
documentation.
the documentation, yeah.
So is this, the other question I have, so a lot of these other changes were relatively minor,
Yes,
capitalized and one additional word, but this needs to go back to our town attorney, town council?
Yes, they're working, they are incorporating all of the feedback from Mass Historical, and I did upload their current document, the red line document, that it does include the feedback, so that's up on the website.
Oops, I missed that, sorry.
Well, I just got it maybe yesterday, so,
Okay.
yeah.
is that the whole document? I thought I opened that on the current documents. And I thought it was very minimal, but maybe I didn't open it all up right.
Well, I don't know, I just opened it just now, so what I'm looking at right now is the letter from Michael Steinitz,
Is
yeah.
it red line?
No, it's just his letter. Where he
Okay.
itemizes all the required changes, so I guess, oh, here, okay, so this is just, this is just as of yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Oh, there it is right there, I see it.
Oh,
I could go back and get that myself here. Red line right here.
you know, all right, this might be not be the one, I'm sorry. Huh,
It only has that's limited.
it does say with MHC input.
Well, so, I guess I'm, again, can we,
Well, those were the two big questions from the attorney, whether you all would be comfortable about not including the National Historic Landmark form, and whether an alternative location for the photos would be appropriate. But it sounds as if
Yeah,
the first one, you do want to keep the NHL form.
I really would.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would too, definitely.
okay.
I have another one. I actually read this whole thing. Did anybody get to 40?
Well, I read it. Oh,
On page, they're referencing page 17 of the preservation restriction. It's all about the free exercise of religion. To me, this says they can do whatever they want to the building. To ensure that they have full use and it's not constrained by this. They have free exercise of religion and that the PR.
I didn't understand that. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, what's the impact on the tavern and the interior spaces? Because I think what this means is it could go right back to Sunday school all the time. And all those grandiose plans that we were trying to get them to simplify would not be appropriate if they decided they wanted to turn it back all into religious activities. So that I have a big question about what the impact of that number 40 is on the physical structure.
I saw that. Is Mass Historical sort of inserting this? I don't remember what it was before. I'm sorry about
Yes,
that.
well, it says, please add the following additional term.
Right, which wasn't there before.
No,
Why?
it's more than a term, it's a whole paragraph.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, this is an historical building that is a 501c3. Well, wait, what is the 501c3 is the organization that is trying to raise money and care for the tavern, right?
Yes,
That's right. It's just
Legacy.
a nonprofit, right?
yeah.
So
the
the
legacy
tavern, but the
trust.
tavern has never, I've understood it to be ever used. Well, I guess it was years ago as for Sunday school in the basement.
Oh, I think maybe more than that.
There was some type of school, right?
I'm just curious because we're spending a whole lot of taxpayer money to make it a certain way and for
Yeah.
certain use, public use is a requirement. Although is a public use, minimal public use in here? I actually didn't see that. And we had, at one
had a
point,
big
it was
effort.
that they had to be open 5 days a year to the
We
public.
had a lot of heartburn on that one.
That's definitely still in there.
Where is it? Because that was very minimal.
Well, I go back to, so they make a big point about possible use as a for religious purposes. I didn't think that money from the CPC could be used
To support a church.
For
at a church.
religion.
Unless in the exception, I know we had an exception for the repair,
Windows,
well, and repairing the tower, the clock
yeah,
tower.
the bell tower. And
Yeah.
also on Lexington Green, there was their CPC funds were used. Eventually, there was a big brouhaha, but that's exactly the problem. It's that conflict between public money, public use, and religion. So I'm very curious about that.
Well, if this bothers me because if at some point the tavern is turned into a use for the church and
Yeah.
all this public money has been expended on behalf, I think that's wrong.
And I think that verbiage is so they can encompass all the whole bailiwick of uses for that.
Well, I mean, I don't have the, I'm just looking at their letter. I don't have the original in front of me, but
Well, it's interesting to think what's covered by that because they use the income from the tavern, which they were renting to real estate offices, and they had a partnership with a museum, which probably brought them some money. And so that goes to support the church, and it also goes to support the tavern, they said. But they said
that
they've
seems
said
okay.
in the past they've said that the tavern rentals did not pay for itself. So I don't know where I don't know what their business plan is at this point in time.
But I mean, that seems fine. What this is saying, though, is that
No, I know.
free exercise of religion, presumably in the tavern.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I brought it up. I think it needs explanation. And Anne, do you remember where the number of days is in here? I don't remember seeing it because I would have put a big red star around.
Well, it would be in the original. So he didn't change every,
No, so here it is. It's under public access, section 5.
No less than 12.
Right, no less than 12 days.
And this is page 7 of the document, it looks like.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. Did they say anything about that?
no,
No,
No.
because they probably thought that was fine.
they didn't change that. So that's okay.
Still pretty little for what they're getting from the public, I think.
Well, so,
Because they are coming back to us, I'm sure. A third time. For CPC money.
probably, so I kind of need, Anne, I think we need a little guidance here.
I think it's a question.
Right, right, that could be a question. I think the word in number 40 that jumps out at me is the word alter. I can see, utilize and maintain the premises in keeping with religious principles, but the word alter is the one that sort of seems to run against the principle of a preservation restriction,
Yeah,
right? So,
and it says very clearly that PR does not impact, restrict, or restrain
Mm.
the right to alter, utilize, and maintain. Yeah. So I just wonder.
right, so that's a great question. I'm sure the lawyers can ask MHC what that's all about, or they could answer it for us.
What, for me, one of the problems with this is that the Right Tavern, the church just happens to, the parish happens to own that building. I don't remember what year they acquired it, but it was not originally used as a religious building. So if it was, I mean, maybe there's some other example, comparable example where, parish owns a subsidiary building.
But we know over time that they have used the basement. I mean, they actually go down there and they
Yeah,
painted the
Yeah, yeah,
walls. That was
yeah. So it is part of the history. Okay.
Okay, that's all I had. That was certainly a detailed review. And I'm glad, Anne, I think I share your feeling that it's good that they added premises and premises and premises all the time. Although it came up so often, I wondered what the real definition of premises is.
Hmm.
Do you know? What are they referring to? It's more than the building, but is it the entire undescribed property?
Right, so they did, let's see. The map is now included, and it's the same map that is in the National Historic Landmark or the National Register nomination. I'll show you the map.
But they also gave an alternative for describing the property that
at the very beginning.
they
which
want
one?
it resurveyed, I think. So that's one of the things they were requesting.
Right, that would be great. Right, because I think on the National Historic Landmark or the National Register nomination, it uses like driveways as the defining borders, but driveways can be altered, and we know that they're looking at potential landscape changes. So that does seem as if that's sort of a feature that can be moved. So it would be great to have them resurveyed.
And are you pretty clear that premises would include the landscape?
Yes,
Okay,
I think so, yeah.
I begin to
So-
wonder. But yes, that's fine. That was my only other thing.
So, Anne, how is this, how a new survey, how would that be enforced? How would we require that it be done, or how does this happen?
That's written into the PR.
But, this means that the owners, 501c3 or the church, whomever, must survey the property again, and then that has to be filed with the Registry of Deeds, right?
Mhm. And they'll probably there's flexibility in the CPC money to do that,
Okay.
I would think. It just seems to be pretty
But,
flexible.
I guess I kind of want to make sure that, you know, the folks from Rye Tavern understand that this is going to be a requirement of this, of the updated preservation restriction.
Well, isn't town council talking to all the parties?
Yes, and they are discussing using the map from the National Register nomination. But I think it is wise to actually follow the recommendation and require a new survey.
Yeah, me too.
So that is that the Historical Commission's recommendation too?
Yes.
Mhm.
Do we need to make a motion? Or is this just
Yep.
a memo?
Yeah, are they looking for something official from us, or should we document it as official
We should,
request?
yeah.
So in that case, we should probably make a motion.
On all 4 items?
Yes. Well, wait, I got what, all four?
Oh,
I've
do
got
you have
two.
more than 4? Okay.
So we've got page 17, number 40, page 17, a question about the religion that specifically to alter, that was one, but what is
The bigger question is, what does it mean in terms of potential impact to the structure? And especially with special attention to the word alter.
to alter? But also, I still have a question about usage. Now that we know, we're very well aware that the town has committed over $500,000 to this project. Are we saying that we would allow the use of the building to somehow in the future to be religious services? Hope not.
That's part of the question. What does that paragraph mean on?
That's part of
page-
number 40, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and it's actually a fraction less than 500,000, I think.
I thought it was 260 and 260.
It was 260 or whatever the first one was, and 234 or something. Ann will probably know better. Anyway,
Well,
but
that's
they are,
close to $500,000.
but they're clearly coming back for more. And I guess what could happen when they come back for more is well, I don't know. No, it wouldn't be use, would it? No. Yeah, so we better know.
Anyway, so those two, the surveying, and I'm sorry, what was the fourth?
Well, wait, there's the survey and that's one, and then there's the documentation, the National Register NHL nomination,
Yes.
2, and number 3 is the photos. And number 4 is whatever it was we were just talking about.
Page 17, alter.
To alter and the religious
Right.
use.
Oh, no, I thought it was one other one. No. Because we put that one as number 1. I said, no.
Number 40, or
Yeah, number 1, I thought was the church thing, and with what does that all mean in terms of impact on the structure with particular concern about alter.
To alter and future use.
Yeah. Probably it says that in here too. Yeah, because it utilize, alter, utilize, and maintain is, that's the phrase. Alter and utilize.
So that's one. The other is, we would want the National Register documentation to be incorporated into the preservation
That's number
restriction.
2. Yeah, and number 3
Um,
is the photos.
The photos
And the survey of the premises.
and the survey of the premises.
Ah, that was it, 4.
Thank you. So is this a
So
motion?
that's the motion. So I move everything that Ann just wrote down that we were talking about. And
I second that.
It includes number 1, what is
Mm.
meant by, this religious freedom paragraph with particular attention to alter and use. And then the second one was the National Register NHL nomination form and the attachments. And number 3 was I guess we're okay with the photos being black and white, but we need to make sure that we put the colored ones in a good place. That's on. the-
Town archives. Town
And
arch-
then number 4 is the updated survey of the property.
Did you get all that in?
Yes, yes, I
She
did.
had it.
So we can say all in favor?
I think she was way ahead of us.
Nancy Frisella Lee,
I,
Melissa,
Yes,
Ryan? Beep the horn.
I'm sure I heard it.
I'm actually I'm going to abstain because I don't have the documents in front of me, unfortunately, right now.
Okay.
Okay, and I vote yes.
Yeah, we did good.
Good approve, I hope.
Okay, moving on. Other business. The Concord DEI Commission, the sample document review. Melissa and I met with Joe and Andrea, and they were to be at the meeting tonight, but due to their scheduling, they had to cancel. So they asked what was available, and what's available is our next meeting. Now the only issue with that is we have the warrant articles that are going to be coming up at town meeting. So I don't know if we need to discuss that in a little bit more detail, or how everyone feels, or do we have the sample document, Anne?
What they're recommending, their warrant article.
Oh, the article.
Well,
There's
the
2
warrant article is
articles.
very brief.
There are 2 articles.
There, I'm sorry, Anne, I didn't mean to
No.
interrupt you.
Well, they haven't submitted the recommended changes to the historical commission, but I did share the document that they shared with the HDC, and I would guess that it would be similar. But I think they did need additional time to put together their thoughts.
Okay. Well, it would be, again, you
Are
know,
you talking about this, Anne?
yes,
Yeah, okay. So on the back is everything that's important in terms of what they're asking HDC to do. And it seems to me they're trying to rewrite their entire role and function in the town. It's a really intense amount. It's not so, I didn't say that right. But they're really adding them to consider and reconsider a lot of their current guidance, and they already have a lot of guidance. It's not just the administrative thing, it's the rules and regs, it's the guidelines. So if you were to go back and put a DEI overlay on all that in terms of just saying, think about an inclusive. I don't understand how HDC and all this intersects.
All together?
Nancy, did you listen? Oh, hi. Did you listen to the recording that Anne sent us?
I didn't have a chance.
Okay.
So I
I
think
think that's really important for you to go. That was good because they had a good discussion, and
I heard that.
the
from
members really covered all the points. I listened closely, and they broke it down into 2 segments. The first one is about all the wording, all this, how we put chairman, chairperson.
This is pretty easy. This
Yeah.
is a no-brainer.
But everybody their main point was that they'd like to separate it out, that those generic changes that should be made not only by our commissions, but townwide, that it's just something that everybody should be doing, that we're living that day and age. And so all our documents should conform to that. And it should be separated out with the content, and the content, is what you're referring to, the important things on the back.
Yeah.
And reading and they were very positive. They said, we want to work with you. And, to me, some of them were reasonable. I think some of the things that, we would do anyway as a commission. And then one question that they asked was whether, why did they single out the HDC and the CHC? And the answer by Joe was basically, I don't know if this is right, but this was a testing ground that we're
Yeah.
the first, and then they will go to look to other commissions, but we have specific issues, historical issues. And so,
I find that
and then the last question was that, someone asked, well, what are you now doing about the legislating this? Are you going to still bring it to town meeting? And the answer was a little bit vague. I think they said in the case of the HDC, they were moving against that. Tell me if I'm wrong, Anne.
Who was moving against it?
The DEI commission was moving away from that they, as long as they had more informal meetings with the HDC, that they were happy to, to just have informal conversations and make changes as need be. I don't know how that applies to our commission. So to me, I think they're considering dropping it. It's unfortunate they can't be here tonight, because as time gets closer, I hope we have time to reach the same agreement with our commission.
they
Well-
can always drop the warrant article. I mean, they have plenty of time to do that. I'm a little upset because Alan and I asked them in a lot of time to please come before us. They also, their characterization of why they came before us is not what you just said. They said, well, the historical commission, the HDC, represents sort of the culture of the town.
Yeah.
I countered
Yeah,
that,
right.
well, wait a minute, the Conservation Commission is part of the culture of this town. The Rec Department is part of the culture of the Public Works. We are all these commissions that help to govern and manage this town represent the culture of the town. So I find their answers kind of a moving target.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think the HDC was being careful, and in how they, interacted with Joe. And Andrea wasn't at that meeting. It was just Joe.
Can I
That was-
say something? If
Yeah.
Andrea didn't show up to that meeting, I happen to have been able to dial into the Economic Vitality Committee. And Andrea, what I need to go back and look at the recording for that, because I think Joe said that she was supposed to be there and he didn't know why she wasn't. But it was just Joe. She never did come. So
Oh, I think she had a family commitment.
Yeah.
There was something that she had to travel suddenly.
she did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I feel better about that. But Joe often is front and center. And I would like to see, we've never had a discussion with the DEI commission. I would like to have a more fulsome conversation with their commission. And I would hope that the commission might ask them to not move that article at town meeting. I might stand up and give my name and address and ask them not to. There's some things I think that the DEI commission could be doing to be more helpful to us. I feel a little bit pushed into a corner about this, and I'm trying to fight that. But, if they could help us surface some of these issues a little bit more in a more fulsome way and provide more information about what they wanted to see and help us understand what they think we're missing. And
Yes.
so.
Well, I agree. I mean, I was in the initial conversation with that Alan was at when we asked Joe to come to a meeting at that time too. That first meeting, Andrea was not there, and Joe was really vague. That was when Luis, the former chair, and then Dennis Fiore was there. Alan and I were there, and we asked for specifics. That was quite a while ago, and so they've had a lot of time. I think that's my real frustration, is that they they asked me, if you recall, one of our meetings, if I would be the liaison. So I've gone now to 2 DEI commission meetings, and tried to not be try to be careful in how I ask the questions, but I've always said, you still haven't given us proposed, concrete things that to discuss. We have nothing to discuss unless you give it to us on paper that all of us can see and agree on, except these very generic, as one of the CHC member said, or the HDC member said, there's generic things like chairperson. And chair. So that's not what's important, but, and they still, so they had the courtesy of going to the HDC and they provided them with something. It's just taking too long and we're getting closer and closer to town meeting and we still don't have it. That to me is the frustration. And Joe, at the preface of the HDC meeting, kind of talked about that and tried to explain it. And so to me, it's even more baffling because why did he do it for them and not do it to us? To me, it's a courtesy that he hasn't come before us. He put us, he told us he was going to do this and we were all trying to grapple with it, but we can't because we don't have the details. And here we are again at yet another meeting talking about it. And we don't really know, we don't know what we're talking about. They haven't told us whether they're going to continue with the proposal or not. So that's the frustration for me.
Yeah.
I agree totally with what Nancy said. I also, as Ellen and
Which
I have,
one? Both of us?
we're both Nancy's. We have met with them, we've explained to them, and we've
Right.
invited them to be a part of, and I
Oh, no, we have not. I
No, wait a
have
minute,
never
wait,
been. I
a
have
part
never
of the preservation planning
Right,
process.
yeah, yeah.
We have
Okay,
asked them to
okay.
be a part of that, and we have
sorry.
explained one of the primary goals of that plan is to document the untold stories of Concord and Concord's history. And I presume from that, we would want to do more programming, education. We would, because there's going to be a document that comes out of this preservation planning. We have been actively attempting, and finally, thank you, Anne, for identifying a Native American to help us, an Indigenous Bruce Curlis, who is going to be interviewed by the consultants of this
Mhm.
preservation plan,
plan.
which you were all invited, and as Joe, it's a public meeting. We are actively pursuing, I think, inclusive, diverse activities. So I don't understand what their task force that they're calling for on the warrant article will achieve that we can't do through this with their help. We welcome them to participate with us.
Yeah. The other thing is, I don't think we're the only two committees or commissioning committee, whatever HDC is their committee, or no, their commission. What about transportation? What about the Council on Aging? What about all kinds of things that intersect with what they're trying to remedy?
I can answer.
And the thing that really is bothersome to me, and it has nothing to do with just DEI survey. It has to do with all the surveys that town committees are doing by themselves, and they are making up their own questions and they are getting answers. And it seems to me that the one thing I learned in Psychology 101 was about bias surveys, and it's you can't just go make a survey and give it out to all your friends and have it come back and be a valid survey. So I'm grappling with what the problem is and how we as the commission are going to help advance the equality and justice for all that everybody's promised. So
At the last DEI meeting, when this came up, and they talked a lot about starting to talk to involve other committees, and they talked about putting together a toolbox of what they're learning working with these two commissions, and then putting together a toolbox that could go to every committee and commission and task force, presumably.
I don't know.
So they are thinking about that, but I don't, again, it's an example for me of how they haven't thought this through.
I think that's.
Well, again, so that just feels like
They're making it up as they go, sort of.
Yeah, and we were targeted, which is what I've said, Joe said, I feel targeted, and unjustifiably so, and I don't understand it. And we've invited them, and the invitation still stands. We're still waiting to we were really hoping that they would be here tonight.
Tonight with their list of what they wanted us to accomplish.
Well, I mean, one time there was, when I zoomed in from England about the tercentenary markers, and Joe, when we were asked to make a decision, I was texting with Joe the whole day, and he told me he was going to be at that meeting, and then he didn't come. So, he's taking over, or he's having significant influence over issues that we're discussing, but yet he doesn't show up when it's not convenient for him, and then we're put in a bad light, I think. I would say more, because it's been really problematic for me in the tercentenary markers. I'm trying to be really careful with what I say, but I feel like there's a problem with who's taking the lead on certain things, like with historical issues. I feel like DEI, they're taking kind of a lead rather than being collaborators. And there's been we've tried to put that in all of our documents, that our commissions are trying to collaborate with each other, equally, and not, kind of overpowering. And I feel like they're taking over, some overstepping, where sometimes they're not being thoughtful, and where it's not appropriate, more importantly.
And do we have does the town have a DEI manager or?
I know that they're
That's-
working on hiring someone. I'm not sure.
That's the
when.
second Warren article, right?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Is it? Is,
Oh, I thought
I
they
got
had two.
something,
One,
I don't know where I got this exactly, but it was at a fairly official place, and it's Article 10.
I don't know if that's DEI. Their other article is about the
Support-
naming of the middle school.
Support for town DEI director.
Yeah, that,
But is that their warrant article? Because they do have two. The other one is naming the Ellen, the middle school, even though the school commission went against that. Now they're going to bring it to
Well,
the meeting.
let's see.
I don't, well, I don't,
It has discussion, it has findings of the DEI survey, it has the role of the DEI director in great detail.
I thought this came up.
This document was produced by the Town of Concord DEI Commission. So there's two articles.
Well, we don't know, we don't have an answer. Right.
No, but I'm happy that I was able to see that it was from them, so.
So I guess I'm sort of asking, where do we go from here? Do we, I would recommend that we issue another invitation, and please ask them to participate in our March meeting. Because, I'd still like to know their reasoning for putting forward the warrant article. Because again, as we've said many times,
Well, what's the timing with the final reading of the warrant?
I think
Well-
it's
Well, they
before
can
our
withdraw
last
at any
meeting.
time.
You can always
They can
withdraw it.
anytime.
It may get published with it in there, but it can, that's okay.
But
Yeah,
there was an email that went out, and you sent the email out telling them that they were invited to our next meeting, right? It didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the warrant article has been published, right? Was
yeah,
that-
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right, you're right. My husband reminded me that the other day.
Yeah. So, but again, I think fine, that's fine. I still,
Why don't we ask them when could they possibly come? And then, we have a schedule of meetings, and when would they like to come?
yeah, so,
I could send out an email to Joe.
Mhm.
and
Asking.
Andrea, and both of them, they're called.
Yeah, both, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let them know about our next meeting, which is the 28th of March. So I would expect them to show up then.
There is a big select board final reading of the warrant articles or something like that. It's a hearing. Is that correct?
I think it's February 26th.
So, okay, so way before our next meeting.
yeah, oh, yeah,
Mhm.
it's soon.
Okay, well,
the other-
we should probably go to that, some of us, anyway.
The other question, Anne, though, the Elizabeth Watson and Peter Benton, they're going to interview. I thought that was part of their interview schedule, is to interview the DEI commission.
Yeah. Let's see, that is on
28th, is it?
21st, February 21st.
February 21st, to
Right.
which,
It's just a key stakeholder meeting with,
Yeah.
right, with Joe and Andrea.
but all members of the Historical Commission, we would be invited. It's public, right? Wrong?
It was meant to be informal and small and just a key stakeholder meeting, as we did with like the chair of the 250th committee.
Of which committee?
250th executive committee, yeah.
Well, would it be is it inappropriate to allow? I'm just asking.
No,
Who was at the meeting with the executive, who, for example?
It was, I attended it. Elizabeth Watson and Peter Benton were there. And it just seems to me that's an opportunity. It's February 21st. I would like to, I don't know if these, right now, they're not published as open meetings. Is that correct?
Right, because it's just information gathering. It's not, yeah.
Well,
The public version will be happening later, but it's just sort of an informal way of getting to know people.
But but we're not the public, we're the commission members, so,
Yeah.
I didn't go to the meeting with Gary and, I don't know, I don't know if I would wanted to or not, but how are we deciding who gets to go to the meetings? It's information gathering, and if not all of us are getting the same information, we can't really.
well, it's the information is gathering is,
To go into the report.
yeah, it's it's Elizabeth and Peter are supposed to be
Peter, right.
interviewing these people.
understand.
That's the point.
With
Right.
the individual stakeholders. It's just those two
Right.
gathering information from the individual stakeholders.
But if just one person from our commission, why
Well-
are we meeting with that person alone?
some commissions are more, some chairs are more reflective of their commissions and committees than others.
But my question for the DEI, because this is particularly, I think, important to all of us, is this something that all of us could participate in if we are available?
We had this, I think we called it a steering committee, didn't we?
Well, whatever we call it, I know it has to be published as public because if there's more than,
More than three of us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Would be-
it's just that I feel as if it's so awkward because it has turned into this,
Yeah.
it's sort of this difficult conversation when it should have been, a natural part of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I personally would prefer to just, treat it as if this never happened with the warrant article and just do it as we would have done it,
Yeah.
You're,
And
and
this
we're
treatment-
talking,
and I'm sort of a neutral person, and the consultants are neutral too. So, it would be nice to just have, a normal and sort of non-political kind of conversation.
it's not
one-on-one.
political. I wouldn't want to call it political. It's just disagreeing on perspectives.
I think you should listen to the
It's not even
HDC.
disagreeing, I don't think.
I think you should listen to the HDC meeting. It was a really nice discussion, I felt. I think
I've gotten a report about it too, and I intend to. But I've talked to folks on HDC.
Okay.
Okay, well, I will withdraw I understand what you're saying, Anne. I mean, this is for Peter and Elizabeth.
That's
The
fine.
different interviews have been trying to set it up so they can get a feel of the town of Concord and where they should, poke and prod more. And that's the point of these interviews.
These are your Friday meetings, right? Is that correct? Or are these in addition to the Friday meetings?
So they're the Friday meetings.
Yeah, fine. Well, we already kind of talked and said that, fine.
And
Okay,
I just want to, I don't want to push my point, but I really don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. But it is difficult that that we're a small commission and we can only, two of us can meet and not three. I find that it's, for me, I was really excited about the preservation project because I thought, well, this is a really great way. We're lucky that our commission has this opportunity, and it's a great way to learn more about every aspect of of our historic community. And so in these meetings, you can learn a lot. And so that's why I'm asking, how you're deciding who can meet. Like, for example, and when I met with you for coffee, you were going off to a meeting and you didn't tell me who, and it was with Elizabeth Watson, I think, because I surmised that from the meeting, and I don't want you to feel bad about this. I'm not saying this.
Oh,
I'm
don't
just
feel
saying I
bad.
haven't met them in person.
Oh.
So it was just an opportunity. They're not in town that much, and it's different to meet someone in person. We're not meeting together. I wish we would meet together too, because I think it would be
Yeah.
really nice to get together. So that's, for me, it's just a learning opportunity. And I'm a member of this commission, and I want to get as much out of it as I can. Because I think I'm a better member, the more information that I have. So if, if there's a reason that you need to limit it, that I can accept that. But if there's not a reason and it's just arbitrary, then that's difficult, I think. It's like you're
Was
you're
it
saying we should all go
procedure?
to DEI, but not a meeting with another person.
I'm not really sure, where the Mass Historical Commission set up procedures. The consultant has been doing this all over the country. There are, this is the way they prefer to, go through the planning process. And, one-on-one informal meetings is something that they do. And then the
That's-
joint meetings are something that they do. The client check-in meetings are something that they do. And then the task forces, or not task force, the focus groups and the public meetings are also something that they do. So this is, this is going to be a long process, and we're just getting started. We actually haven't done a lot yet because we're in the information gathering phase. But yeah, as we're saying to everyone, look forward to many opportunities to get together, and
I think there'll be a lot of meetings, Nancy, that this, like Ann said, this has just started. What are we looking at, like 4 or 5 months out now? Even they're going to continue after the summertime. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of meetings to be involved with. Yeah.
I think Nancy puts her finger on a good point, though. I've been feeling a little bit of this too, kind of getting things around the edge. And I think one thing that'll help that is if we expand our membership. The Battle Road Scenic Byway Committee had 13 people. That means that a quorum is 7. That means that 6 of us could talk to each other.
Oh.
Right? And now we're totally constrained from talking to each other in a way that, this small number of people should be able to.
Except that I don't know that that's going to change. The people we're expanding are all alternate members or associate members.
What does that mean?
Well,
Yeah,
a quorum is a quorum of the,
I think I read, I'm going to have to go back and look for it now. I think I read in the Historic District Commission laws,
that's not us.
no, but I'm just going to say that I think I saw that the alternate members had some standing that we don't in the Historical Commission right now. And I was interested to see that, and I can't say it unless I find it again, so.
Well, it would be great because I agree with you. We're very constrained, 2 people can talk, 3 people can't. And
Not good enough,
yeah, and so we just need to find out.
yeah, I'll look, I actually printed it, I'll find out. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to Anne and she can tell everybody else.
And we are looking to increase. There are what, four potential now, I think 4 or 5 potential.
Yep.
So
And Betsy Eigelhart, I've got to track her down. I'm sorry. Been really busy.
you
But
need a vacation.
I just had a vacation. Not good enough. Okay, Where are we?
Okay, that other business, and we have the minutes from September 14th and September 29th. Looking to get those minutes accepted. So do we have a motion on the floor for the minutes?
I have a comment. I just saw the minutes today and I was listening to them the hour before because I can't remember it, you know, what was said that long ago. So I was starting to, because I presented my my presentation that night, and I didn't remember what I said, and I went back and started listening to it, and then I got a phone call. So I know that we talked about other things, and I know that the minutes can't include everything, but I think that some important things may have been left out. And another comment I want, there's in the second paragraph, it said Ms. Sawfield suggested reaching out to Mass Historical Commission. I think that may have been you, Nancy, but I didn't get to that part. Could we postpone it till the next time so that I could have more time to just look at it, or if you don't think it's that important? I would actually like to have another, you know, do it next time.
Are you looking for both the 14th and 29th?
No, I wasn't at the second one. I think the second one was shorter. It was a special meeting, right? I'm only looking at the
Yes.
It was
September
about the
14th.
most endangered, the 11 most endangered.
I wasn't
Right.
at that meeting.
Yeah. I
That
thought,
was pretty
I-
simple, pretty straightforward.
as much as I love short minutes, I did think that there were a lot of things that we talked about regarding the markers, and I was kind of hoping for a more wholesome. I
Well,
know it's kind of it was kind of difficult to capture that conversation, so if people don't have a big issue with that, that's fine.
Right, so
And
the
then
town, we've been
then
sending minutes out we've been sending minutes out to a company to help us
Yeah.
because we have been so short-staffed and without any sort
Yeah,
of
I know.
administrative support. So
mostly I've been wildly happy with them, but this was a complex conversation.
I
And-
also, who
And
is
I'm
this?
not sure, Melissa, I'm not sure who said this, but and this bothers me because of the Herald articles too. All members of the commission agreed that any offensive discriminatory content be removed. These are about the signs.
Yeah, that was a pretty declamatory statement that I don't recall we made.
Yeah, and then Anne did send around a great summary. I liked Anne's summary of that discussion, actually. And it
think
was
that was on
important to have what?
I think that my summary was from the October meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it was
You're
a
right,
different
you're
meeting.
right.
Yeah.
You're right, because I also was asking for the Nancy's motion. And somehow I think the town spokesperson got a little bit confused about what the commission had voted for or was thinking. And we were cited as wanting to, you know, take the signs down, and that's not what our motion was.
No, I didn't, not my recollection. We discussed it. We were concerned about the content. We were also concerned about the ownership, who had jurisdiction. And we wanted to know what would be the ultimate disposition of the sign. So I didn't think we took a final position.
We did.
I also
We
want to
did.
know,
We had a motion.
but
And I couldn't
In
vote for
October.
it.
In the
In
October
October.
that
meeting.
was later.
I'm talking about October.
I know,
Yes.
but we're talking about September minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were back. I thought we were still back on the other.
Well, we hadn't made a decision about this. I still want to know who Nancy Kuznieski is.
Oh, I know you. You forwarded her name to me. She's a person from Carlisle, and
Wow.
she is interested in Native American history, and it was a town guide, so she came to that meeting. She's come to a few meetings.
That's right. That's right.
That
That's
one.
right.
She maybe come to one other.
She was
Right.
the teacher.
Well, then she should have been noted as an.
As from Carlisle. Yeah.
attending. She was
I
attending.
guess, and we gave her permission to her to speak, even though she was from Carlisle. She identified herself and we said that she could speak.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of, what was the other date, the 29th?
Yeah, September 29.
The
Yeah.
29th, and we're gonna push the 14th off, so all in favor of approving the minutes from September 29th?
Aye.
I have to abstain, I wasn't there.
Hi,
Aye,
Jesse.
so approved.
Yes. Hi, Jesse.
Jesse?
Hi, everybody.
And
Came at a perfect time.
Oh, good.
We're almost done.
Oh,
Yep,
oh, no.
that was the last of our agenda.
Yes.
Wow, very efficient tonight,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
Brief.
so if we're all set, there's nothing else, we can have a motion to adjourn.
We have somebody else listening. Stephen
Stephen?
is here.
Stefan, did you have something, would you like to comment?
Do you take public comment at these meetings? I didn't see that on the agenda.
Uh-oh, but I guess you
right,
can't
we
say,
could-
I guess you can't say anything.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, we always do.
I
You
don't
all
think-
do.
You don't
Welcome
have
him.
to, you know.
I will confirm to your earlier discussion that the Camp Thoreau 40B project land is not included in the current proposed MBTA zoning map.
Right.
No way.
No
There was some
way.
question about that earlier on, but it is not. It's nowhere near it.
Yeah, yeah.
And other than that, I don't know. My only comment is that it's difficult to hear when everyone talks over everyone else. And that is a function of Zoom and strong personalities. This is not the only committee where that happens.
I so would like a in-person meeting every once in a while for that very reason.
Hmm.
No.
Anyway,
Anyway.
thank you.
Good to see you.
Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
Second? Or is that what you want?
Yeah,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good
Well,
night,
thank you all.